Hello and welcome to another episode of Make Love Real, How to Create More Love in Your Life. I'm Mia Saenz, and in this episode, you get to meet Miskinis. I'm already smiling. I love this woman for many aspects. She's a colleague, she's a friend, and I really respect her. She's one of the people that my light shines with hers, meaning that I just adore her to pieces. So I want you to meet Miskinis, and then come on, and then I'm gonna talk more about you.
Hello, Lovey. Thank you.
It's hard for me to not bring you on like that. It's like, here I am all excited about you. The thing about Christine that I love is her commitment to her faith of who she is, her higher sense, the work that she shares with the world, the empowerment of voice, the empowerment for women. She's really an activist for women. And these are important not just for humanity along all times, but right now specifically. We were talking about her work, which is Rock Your Voice, and she's going to share more about that with you. But it's really important for us to stay firm right now during this world's new place in history that we've never been, to be true to who you are. So Christine, if you can share about your journey here, because it's incredibly powerful, and then we'll start our conversation.
Beautiful. Thank you, love. And thank you for honoring me. Every time you interview me, my heart just like expands in all the love. Talk about love yourself. It's just like having someone reflect back to you what they see of all your beautiful attributes and your greatness. It's part of the work I do, you do. And when we do it for each other, it's just like, oh my God, I could just cry and like bawl and like as you're talking. So what a beautiful way to welcome everybody to the series. For your voice, yes, and the times that we're alive in right now. So for me, what happened was, I think that it's very similar to what is happening currently in the world. We have to talk about it, right? And this was the life that I have always known as a very young girl, small child. I didn't think it was right. I couldn't understand what was happening here, why some of us were afforded beautiful homes, wonderful families, and others were growing up in the ghetto, why there was so much discrimination, why there was so much hate. Like these were just things that as a young girl, I couldn't understand, and I never have understood. Because it's not literally who I am. We are love. We're meant to share love and express love. But I was taught to be a good girl. I was taught to follow the rules, to be successful, to climb a ladder of success, to push, fight, force, like run my body to the ground, do whatever I needed to do to make it, to survive, to get ahead of everybody else in like this race. It's just so interesting that I had this experience I'm going to share with your audience right now. This experience happened 18 years ago, and yet today, with the coronavirus, I'm seeing like it's the same message that's sweeping through us right now. Okay. So here I was 18 years ago, fighting, forcing, pushing my way up the ladder of success. And what happened was, Mia, I was really getting sick and I wasn't able to digest my own, I wasn't able to digest life, but it looked more like me not being able to digest food. And my body was breaking down. I was sick. I was ending up in the hospital 3 times a month in the emergency rooms. I was living in fear, 20 years old. I was trying to do the things I loved and also be of service and be a teacher. And at night I would go and perform because I couldn't make money doing just solely what I loved, which was expressing myself. And so I was burning out. And the doctors were treating me with medicine and I was going, and I remember they did a biopsy and the doctor walked out of the office and he said, I just want you to know you have a precancerous condition. The cells of your stomach are actually growing up into your esophagus. And this is a precancerous condition. That means it's going to become cancer because we've been treating you and it's not helping. But you're young, so your life expectancy is long. So when it becomes cancer, we'll go in, we'll scrape it out, we'll put in something and I just couldn't even hear it, Mia, because At this time in my life, I was working as a public school teacher, and the women who were the mothers of my students who were diagnosed with breast cancer were dying within 3 months' time, just 18 years ago. And so this was my big awakening moment in the doctor's office. Similarly to what we're experiencing right now in the world. Similarly, it's like, right? I was like, okay, what's going on? This big unknown, this big mystery, this cancer thing that I couldn't see, that I couldn't control, that was in me, inside of me. And I was fearful that I was going to die as a result of having it. And so what happened was my mind started like, who do you know? What can you do? It started racing, as the mind does, and it's computer programming. And I was like, okay, doctor, come on. What can we do? How can you fix this? Go on in. And he was like, save me, fix me, help me. And he was like, no. He's like, I can't do anything right now. When it becomes cancer, I'll go in and then I'll do whatever. And so there was silence inside of me. And what happened in this moment was a huge wake up, because I actually felt my soul sit up inside of my body. Everything got quiet. And there was a pause, sort of like where we are right now in the world. A pause of like, okay, I don't actually have this yet. I'm not dying. It could potentially happen. I'm at a choice point right now. I can't go out and work and do all the things and drive my body and be distracted by life and try to force, fight, push, and achieve. So what the heck do I do? And I heard my inner voice say, go off and allow your body to heal. All is well. But what did that mean? It just meant stop. Just stop doing what you're doing and everything will be okay. It will get clear to you. And so that's what I did. And in a very short amount of time, like I had this confidence, I had this inner knowing, and it came through my voice, which sounded like my own voice, but also the voice of God. Because I didn't speak that way. Go off and allow your body to heal. All is well. And I was like, okay. And I trusted, another message for our listeners today, I trusted it's all going to work out. And I can choose now to go home and say, Mom, I'm going to die, or whatever, and take the medicine, find another doctor, keep going down that trail. Or I could choose to trust my inner voice, my higher knowing, my divinity, my soul speaking to me saying, you're going to be okay. Your body's going to heal from this. And that's what I chose. And in 3 months' time, actually it was 3 days, I found someone to support me, because God works through people. And once I committed, like I trust and I'm here and here I am, a voice came, a woman came into my space and I connected with her. And she helped me to support my body in healing, simple supplements, taking care of myself. She would say, does that Diet Coke really serve you? Why are you eating this? What does your body really need? She intuitively led me and guided me to reconnect to myself, something no one ever did for me until then. You see, I was following the voices of the world, and the voices of our world at that time, which similar today, but we're transitioning right now. We're very much patriarchy. And as you can hear the way I speak about it, very much masculine force, right? Go and do that. Not the feminine voice, not the listen to your intuition, trust your body, feel your feelings. You will be okay. It's okay. You're allowed to feel how you feel. All these things, right? When we're young women, we're confronted with a lot growing up in the ways that we have, with a lot of programming that doesn't match our feminine essence. So we have to find our way, just get married, have a man take care of you, all these things that I was like, didn't feel good to me, but I thought I needed to play the game of life that way. And that resulted in a precancerous condition, dis-ease. And so that's what I got clear on, really, was that, wow, this was because I haven't been honoring my voice. as a woman, having this experience in life as a woman, being feminine, knowing that I can honor my feminine and my masculine. Like, why am I just living like that and not honoring who I am? And in that time of healing, not only was it food and supplements, it was Christine finding her voice, saying to people at the time, I can't eat that. I choose not to eat that. I'm healing my body. I'm sorry, my family. I love you and all of this. I will not discuss the disorder, the disease. I will not talk about it. I will not breathe life into that. Let's talk about this instead. Or I cannot join you at this function or that function because there's too much happening. And I really just need to be alone right now and take care of myself. And that's what I did. And when I went back to the doctor's office, now it was 3 months later, to get my next biopsy, he came out of the room and he was like, this is amazing. You're healing. There's scar tissue over. So now we actually can see the effects that your body is healing and recovering and rejuvenating. And Mia, I was like, oh my God, yes. Like I knew because I felt different. I didn't have to go to the hospital. I didn't have any digestion issues. I was sleeping good. I was feeling good. And so I was like, doctor, let me tell you what I've been doing. And he's like, no, keep taking the medicine first, And I'm like, I'm not taking the medicine. He said, well, if you can't take the medicine, I can't treat you. I was like, this is so odd. Again, another thing. Now I was connected to my inner voice and I'm like, but he's a doctor that wants to heal people. And I looked at him with this perplexed look. And he said, Christine, in medical school, right? Now here we go, more voice. So I had a voice of like, what the heck are you talking about? And he had a voice of, I'm a doctor. In medical school, we learn how to give out prescriptions to help our patients. So if you're not going to take my prescription, I can't treat you. So we were both at like a pass point here. And I honored him for at least communicating his experience, who he is, his perception, what he devoted his life to, what he knew. It wasn't what I knew to be true. But I said, okay, then clearly I don't need a doctor anymore because I'm healing.
It's beautiful.
And we parted ways. And I haven't had anything like that in 18 years.
It's beautiful. It's amazing. And it's the faith and knowledge that we can heal the body, literally. That's something that we know about in the world. And that's something that people are fascinated with from both of us, literally. And everybody can be at that space. It's about understanding who you are, listening to your higher voice, your higher self. It's really a fabulous place to experience, because with that, once you do something like that, there's no going back. Literally, there's no going back. What would you go back to? The cancer coming back? No. So there's no going back. It's so transformational. And it makes sense why you coach women in their voice, in their empowered speaking, their message, their love, who they are. I was telling Christine before we got on the live camera here that I'm honoring her in her sense, in her way, that she gets up every single day and she talks to people on Facebook. She does her Facebook Lives. I come on occasionally here and there throughout the days to do my stuff, and I see her. And it's so assuring to know that she stands in her bright light and she is who she is, literally. And so when we recognize somebody who's voicing their power, voicing their truth, we need to bless it and watch or allow it to absorb in us, see what the message is, because there's so many little messages within the big message, within the big picture.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm not sure why, but I've been feeling a lot of energy with you. My eye is crying because she loves your story. The soft side of me.
The emotion that comes from the voice is a beautiful thing. It's really honoring also ourselves and each other when we can see that the voice that I speak of is the voice of, it's like your soul's voice. It's not your ego voice. There's a lot of voices that can keep up space in our heads. But when I say about these times and the fear and all of this that's coming and the power of choice, it's because we can and we are. We don't need a big, well, perhaps we do. I mean, perhaps that's what this is showing us, because I'm saying, like, would I have shifted? Would I have awakened if it wasn't for that experience? It took that experience. And perhaps your viewers today, like, you're sitting in these times, like really disgruntled, really stressed, really confused, perhaps, like what the heck is going on and what is happening here? And it's really just a power of choice now that we have now all been given. And I just saw something before coming on here about this being like a time of a chrysalis for a butterfly. And how we've all gotten like really fat and plump and all, we've like, the hungry caterpillar that like eats everything and consumes everything. We as a collective have been that. And now we're full and we're fat and we're overconsumed and we're overworked, we're overstressed, and we're inside our cocoons of our homes.
Mm-hmm.
So to
it
me,
really is a beautiful breaking point or expansion point, literally right now. That caterpillar in the chrysalis is so beautiful, because literally, you're right. Humanity has been seeking. And this is the place that says within us, if we get off of the social media and stop goofing around, recording silly stuff. And I don't mean to be judgmental, it's just driving me cuckoo, because I love you guys, and even the ones that I don't know that do funny stuff. This is the time this is the greatest awakening on the planet, because not just we're talking about the spiritual stuff of the, of the fifth degree and this and that, or fifth dimension, but it's the human sense. There's a lot of people on our planet. There's a lot of angst and frustration, and there's a lot of beauty. What are you going to tap into? Christine talks about formal communication versus heart-centered communication. And I want to hear her talk about that with this, because this is a powerful space for people to shift from the garbage that they allow themselves to regurgitate upon over and over. She's talking about all the voices in our head. Part of my work is we get rid of the monkey mind stuff in your head, and you're only listening to the divine and yourself. And so, Christine, would you talk a little bit about this, please?
Absolutely. This is also a new of like who we will be, which is who we already are. Like you just said it beautifully, like get rid of all the things. That's what's happening right now as well. We're getting clearer and clearer on who we really are and getting in touch with how we feel, because how we feel invites us. It shares with us like what's happening there. When you have a feeling, you can pay attention to it and know, where is that feeling coming from? Is it coming from old programming that I'm feeling sorry for myself and in victim mode? Okay, do I want to feed that? Or do I want to feed and nourish the truth, which I have discovered, with each of you have discovered, and you can feel the power. You can look at yourself in the mirror and see your soul looking back at you. That's why mirror work is so powerful. You can look in the eyes of a baby or your lover or your partner, whoever, and also see the same. The divinity in me acknowledges the divinity in you. So this whole way of communication has come through also patriarchy and the ways of being used to old shadow stuff. That's another thing we're being confronted. We're looking at shadow aspects now, which is great, because would we have really looked? Would I really have looked at the Christine that wanted to be the good girl, that wanted to get ahead, that wanted to be seen, and felt unheard? Would I really have looked at that? So that's what we're coming to now. And here's the beauty of it. We can start to show up and speak what's on our hearts, knowing that it serves, knowing that it's alive in the moment, and it's not actually supposed to be or sound perfect. However, when you lead with your voice in this way, it sounds magnificent. It's energy. Your voice is the bridge of your inner connection to your higher self, to God, to source, to universe, and your outer expression. It's actually the bridge. It's what makes human creatures so amazing, because we have the ability to allow, to tap into a language. And language itself has been faulty. So consider this. If we are here now to lead and guide in love, what that requires is only for you to open your heart, to feel your feelings, to return to a place of innocence, to speak what's on your heart. And even if something comes out that is embarrassing or is not correct perception or something, it's received in a way like a divine mother energy. Like a, darling, what do you think about what you just said? Instead of, you're wrong, who do you think you are? Don't say things like that. I'm your mother. I'm in control here. We came from that. We moved through that. We've healed from that. Now we get to be who we really are for one another, which is like Mia coming here and sharing with me what she sees in her beautiful heart love voice. And it's what you're able to do now too. Practice this way. This is the new way, because it hasn't been honored until now. And we see how it serves, right? We're seeing like that. When I talk about choice point, oh, this doesn't serve us anymore. Why I just did that little reenactment. This is so much more loving and supportive. Mm-hmm. You see? And there's one last piece. When you speak, you're not just putting out, you're actually listening to yourself speaking. So we want to talk about love. The person who says, who do you think you are? And then sit down, I'm in control. Do you think that person loves themselves? And what is their experience in that moment? Whether they're cursing or angry or projecting all this hate and stuff outwardly, inside, that's how they talk to themselves. So when you're listening, as a listener, like, see it and hear it for what it really is, which is just pain and distortion. Don't take that on anymore. And when you choose to speak, know the power of your words to make manifest, to cast spells, to bring healing. There's lots of studies about our words, even on water, what it does. Our words are so powerful. Ask and you shall receive. Okay, it's like this is a new conversation and we are ready for it.
It's really powerful because when you bring in the control issue there, so people hear us, they see this process, oh yes, yes, but you brought in an everyday act that humanity expresses several people, right? There's always a percentage of stuff, and there are people who have to have a control sense, and we just have to love them or leave them, literally bring them out of our experience or love them through it, whichever serves your soul best, you know, in the time, because you have nothing to do with their control issue. People think that they are causing it. You're not causing somebody to be angry or to be narcissistic, to be controlling, to bully you, to beat you up. You're not causing that. It's somebody else's gig, their thing. And until they work through it, don't allow yourself to repeat that behavior to others. I love that you brought that up, because our voice says a lot about who we are, and even more how we express out to the world. As you said, in love, everything changes. And that's really the truth. It's about reparenting who we are.
Yes.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much. Wow. Isn't she amazing?
It's just what's, so this is the other thing too. It's really like what's on my heart. And because I know myself, because I'm so connected to myself and my higher self, right? My human self, look, we're all very much alike in our programs. And so when we can tap into a collective of a higher conscious, of a unity conscious, of a Christ conscious, we feel and we tap into this universal love for all. And we become more discerning with how we treat others and how we speak. And there is less control. There's also a lot less stress because it becomes so much more fluid when I talk about this alive way of talking. As you can see, Mia and I today, we don't have scripts. It's not like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Look, you have all the knowledge and the information. Now we're really honoring the experience. That's what's happening, my loves. We're moving into a whole experiential age. And this is why, the live events and the videos and these ways of being together are coming into our world, because we want to have experiences, because experiences transform us. Like my experience in the doctor's office, like your experience right now with what's happening in the world, or right here in this series. It can happen for you at any time, but you'll need to choose in on it to allow yourself to have the experience. So when we speak in these ways, look how magical, look how amazing. It's so rich, so much more than I could have ever planned to happen, or I could have ever stressed about. I have to remember all these things. No, it's why public fear has been the number one fear to speak up. It's ridiculous. I can't even get it out. It's like, why would you be afraid to speak up? Why would you be afraid to share your wisdom, to share what's on your heart?
Especially females have been lowered for like the patriarchy. Be quiet, you have nothing to say, you're just a girl, go stand in the corner. These are the lies of humanity that Christine busts open, that I bust open. It's not who you are. Why would you choose to literally to stay in that flow? I just had to jump in because it's like you tapped into the pain point, the thing that stops this beautiful feminine grace that women have. We are mothers, we are healers, we are creators, we are business owners, we create communities, we have families. So with that, there is more power than anyone has ever allowed you, me, or any other female to be in place of. So when we break those walls down, what's left? Our beautiful, empowered self that supports each other.
Yes. And, I'm like Rocket Out Woman is my business and my brand. And I focused on women because I am a woman, and growing up in the times, right, I've seen exactly what you said, how women have been repressed, oppressed, silenced, all this stuff. But as I've grown throughout these years of being in business, I've had more men being also interested in this work, because we all have the feminine energy inside of us. And it is the feminine energy that has been suppressed because it's so powerful and cannot be controlled, to be honest with you. And that's scary. But I laugh because it's also delicious and amazing and exciting and alive and wild and free. People ask me, how are you always so happy? And are you really that way? Like, what happens when I turn the camera off? And I'm human, but I laugh at myself. I yell, I cry. Yes, I have all those moments too. But mostly, I would say I'm connected to this feminine energy because I love it so much. It serves me so much more than being stressed and struggling and sacrificing is this wild, creative energy. I feel like you said, Mia, about we have to mother ourselves. I feel like that's really also what's awakening in the planet is a divine feminine energy right now for men and women alike.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Christine and I've been having these, as a creator, I burst up with all these things that come forward, and I'm going to talk to Christine about a project that I think you guys would really love. So on that note, we are past our time, but it was well worth it. I'd like you to share your free gift with the audience, please.
Awesome. All right. So I have a beautiful it's a video series, and it's called Unleash Your Voice. And it's really more of a structured way of kind of removing all the barriers that you've had, that you've built up so that you can see it. I show up a little more fierce. I'm like, should I rework that now? Because this was created a couple months ago and the times are changing. So I want you to notice that. But I feel like when I show up a little more fiery, it lights a fire inside of you. Something happens. I don't always feel the most comfortable, lighting flames in people, but they always appreciate it because you recognize truth and it gets you moving into taking action now, which is what we always want because the power is in the present moment. Unleash Your Voice series. I hope you enjoy it. Please let me know. Send me a message. I'd love to connect with you during these times. What is it that you need? We are here for you. We have your back. And whether it's a free gift or a free conversation, I want you to know that I'm here for you.
That's really beautiful. Thank you for adding the last part too about being there, because people don't realize that we are there for them. And thank you, thank you, thank you. I think you're the first person that actually said that on this series. And it's vital for everybody to know that there is support, there is love, and you are valuable. So with that beautiful gift, before we say goodbye, is there anything else, you've given us so much, on your heart or mind that you'd like to share?
We don't know the power of our voices, and we don't know it until we start to express it and open our mouths and share what's on our hearts. If you share what's on your heart and you open up your heart right now to share with someone in your life, on social media, it doesn't matter. Just connect to your truth that you need to share to the world with what is happening or what's always been happening or what's happening for you from a higher place. And you will see that as you give, you also receive, and how we are all in this together. And that's your empowered human spirit. Bless you.
I love that. Thank you so much, Christine, for joining us. You're always so amazing and beautiful.
I love you. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to play. And I just love being in this space with you, darling.
I love you too. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us for this episode of Make Love Real, How to Create More Love in Your Life. We'll see you soon.